It began as a dream of a caliphate. It metastasized into the most brutal and methodical killing machine of the 21st century. This is not just the story of a terrorist group. It is the story of a state, a meticulously engineered one, born from chaos, fueled by apocalyptic ideology, and undone by its own monstrous ambition. This is the rise and fall of the Islamic State. Before we delve into the origins of this modern horror, a note: our documentaries pull no punches, and this subject is graphically violent. For truly uncensored historical documentaries, including our extensive series on modern conflicts, there's only one place to go. AHTV is the premier platform for documentary content, free from the restrictions of mainstream sites, for a completely uncensored look at history. New users can get their first month 100% off by using the code UNCENSORED at checkout. That's ahtv.com. Use code UNCENSORED. To understand the Islamic State, you must first understand the vacuum it filled. Our story begins not in 2014, but in 2003, the US-led invasion of Iraq topples Saddam Hussein's secular, Sunni-dominated regime. Overnight, the ruling class is dismantled. The Iraqi army is dissolved, leaving hundreds of thousands of armed, trained, and bitterly resentful Sunni men without a future. Into this volatile landscape steps a Jordanian street thug turned radical jihadist, Ahmed Fadil al-Nasser al-Khalaili, you know him as Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. In 2004, he pledges allegiance to Osama bin Laden, forming Al-Qaeda in Iraq. But Zarqawi is different. Where bin Laden focused on the far enemy, the West Zarqawi's obsession was the near enemy. He wanted to slaughter Shia Muslims, whom he viewed as apostates, and build a Sunni emirate in the heart of the Arab world. His tactics are unspeakably savage: suicide bombings in marketplaces, televised beheadings. He is a pioneer of propaganda horror. By 2006, Zarqawi is dead, killed by a US airstrike. But the monster he created is merely evolving. His successors declare the Islamic State of Iraq. For a few years, they are battered by US forces and Sunni tribal militias in the Anbar awakening. They are on the ropes, a dwindling cadre of fugitives, but they are waiting. And then, the second catalyst, the Arab Spring. In 2011, protests erupt in Syria against President Bashar al-Assad. Peaceful demonstrations are met with brutal, indiscriminate violence. A civil war explodes. Assad's strategy is cynical and devastating. He initially focuses his wrath not on the jihadists emerging in the chaos, but on the more moderate opposition. His goal? To make the world see only two choices: his regime or the terrorists. The Islamic State of Iraq sees its opening. They cross the border. In the lawless, war-torn plains of eastern Syria, they find a blank slate. They rebrand as the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS. And they find the perfect leader for their new phase: Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Baghdadi is no Zarqawi. He is quiet, scholarly, with a PhD in Islamic studies. He presents himself not as a mere terrorist leader, but as a caliph, a successor to the prophet. He is the architect of the state. And in 2014, he seizes his moment. In January 2014, ISIS fighters swarm Fallujah in Iraq. It's a shock, but the world largely watches. Then, in June, they turn their sights on Mosul, Iraq's second largest city. The 30,000-strong Iraqi army division tasked with defending it flees. Almost without a fight, a city of nearly 2 million people falls to a force of perhaps 1,500 ISIS fighters. The world is stunned, but the true declaration of intent comes weeks later. On June 29, 2014, from the pulpit of the great mosque of al-Nuri in Mosul, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declares the re-establishment of the Caliphate. He is now Caliph Ibrahim, ruler of all Muslims. The dream is now a territorial reality. The rise is complete. Now comes the core conflict. The project of building the Caliphate. This is where ISIS distinguishes itself from every terrorist group before it. They aren't hiding in caves. They're issuing license plates, collecting garbage, running traffic police. They establish a complex bureaucracy of terror, with departments for finance, slavery, and media. their most powerful weapon. Propaganda. Their media arm, al-Hayat, produces glossy, high-definition videos of both utopian life markets, schools, infrastructure, projects, and calculated, cinematic brutality. The beheadings, the drownings, the burnings. It's a dual-purpose strategy to attract recruits with the promise of purpose and victory, and to paralyze their enemies with fear. And their ideology is put into practice with chilling efficiency. Religious minorities, like the Yazidis, are subjected to genocide. Women are enslaved, priced, and sold. Dissenters, smokers, homosexuals are executed in public squares. They harness social media algorithms, creating a viral feedback loop of terror and recruitment that draws thousands of foreign fighters from across the globe. But the very scale of their success contains the seeds of their destruction. The declaration of a caliphate is a direct challenge to al-Qaeda, fracturing the global jihadist movement. More critically, it forces a massive, unified military response they cannot withstand. The climax, the peak of ISIS power, is also the beginning of its end. In August 2014, the gruesome video of the beheading of American journalist James Foley forces the world as superpower to fully engage. The US begins a relentless campaign of airs. More importantly, it finds and empowers partners on the ground. In Syria, the US backs the Syrian Democratic Forces, a Kurdish-led coalition. In Iraq, it supports the reconstituted Iraqi army and the Popular Mobilization Forces. These groups begin to squeeze the Caliphate from both sides. The long, grueling, street-by-street battle for its twin capitals begins. The battle for Mosul lasts 9 months, from October 2016 to July 2017. It is the largest urban combat operation since World War II. When it's over, the city is reduced to rubble. In Syria, the SDF slowly encircled Raqqa, the so-called capital of terror. After a 4-month siege, the city falls in October 2017. In both places, the final ISIS stand is not fought by its leaders, but by fanatical holdouts and human shields. Baghdadi is nowhere to be found. The decline is now a collapse. Over the next 2 years, the territory shrinks to a tiny sliver of desert in eastern Syria near the town of Baghuz. Here, in early 2019, the world witnesses the grotesque end of the Caliphate's territorial project. Starving families, wounded fighters, and a final, desperate last stand in a tent city. In March 2019, the SDF declares the last pocket liberated. The physical state is gone, but the resolution of the story isn't a clean victory. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, after 5 years in hiding, is cornered by U.S. Special Forces in Syria in October 2019. He detonates a suicide vest, killing himself and 3 of his children in a tunnel. The founder dies as he lived, in darkness, causing indiscriminate death. The legacy of ISIS is a stained and fractured one. They demonstrated that a non-state actor could build a proto-state and wield social media as a weapon of war. A playbook others have studied. Tens of thousands of foreign fighters remain in detention camps, a stateless, radicalized time bomb. Their ideology persists in affiliates from Africa to Asia. But perhaps their most profound lesson is one of historical irony. They rose by exploiting chaos and sectarian hatred. They fell because their project of unlimited, theatricalized violence eventually united every power around them: the US, Russia, Iran, Turkey, Arab states. It's a singular goal: their annihilation. In seeking to create an eternal caliphate, they engineered their own inevitable and total defeat. History shows that the most dangerous ideas are those that promise purity through annihilation. They burn bright, and they burn out, leaving only scars on the landscape and the human soul. If you want to explore the complexities of modern history without the filters, support us by heading to A. It's the best way to watch our documentaries and thousands of others. For a completely free month, use code uncensored at aetv.com. To support our community directly, you can get a year's subscription for just $20 with the code COMMUNITY. Thank you for watching.